Jaguars.
Yep.
So yeah. So next game, as I say, we're getting the order right so far. That's the main thing. But like I rightly said, it was Teddy Bridgewater's Denver Broncos traveling to number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence's Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence's home debut. Everyone was really hyping this up, thinking, okay, week 1 nerves out of the way. Is he going to really perform against a Broncos team that's certainly going to be inconsistent from recent history? But I think, to be honest, the best way of analysing it was a disaster for Trevor Lawrence, as his Jaguars are losing a record 17th game in a row, obviously across 2 seasons. So after their week 1 win last season, they lost the remaining 15 games. That's 2 as well that they've lost this season, of course. It was very strange, again, from the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was a nice start. Of course, Trevor Lawrence finding new wide receiver Marvin Jones on drives. That was a nice 20-plus yard touchdown. But then, to be honest, Brad, I'm looking at all this hype, this Jacksonville offense, expecting to make loads of positive notes. But what can I write? It was pretty much all Denver. Teddy Bridgewater, again, despite his pretty awful season in the end with Carolina, I reckon it's just a Carolina Panthers curse. He looked solid again. He was able to find the wide receiver Sutton for 9 times for 159 yards. And it was, as I say, every time the Jaguars made a mistake, the Broncos punished them. And the Jaguars just looked such a mess, Brad. There was no game plan. I'm looking at it thinking, look how good running back James Robinson was last season. Fantasy dream with receptions and rushing yardage. He's just simply not getting used. He's starting to have more carries, but they're just so desperate for Trevor Lawrence to flex his muscle. But he's just not doing anything. I mean, 14 completion out of 33. If he wasn't a immediate sweetheart, that would be that everyone would be slaughtering those stats. And yeah, in this road win for Denver, it was embarrassing for the Jaguars, and I can't see them winning many games either. I mean, you got any comments to add?
I totally agree with you, to be honest. It just feels like Trevor Lawrence, he's been hyped up and he just doesn't keep it down to the basics. He's always looking for sort of, as in the English football term, the Hollywood pass, and he's always looking for that. He's always slinging it for the big yardage when there's open players, keeping it simple. You can get more first downs and keep the other team off the pitch. And it's just embarrassing for the Jaguars. I think they need to strip it back down to basics a bit. But a good win for the Broncos. They've had a very good start to the season. I believe they've got a couple of AFC West divisional rival games coming up against the Chargers, I think in week 4. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do against the division and whether they can sort of set a footprint in the AFC West.
Yeah, and I think that this will be the key factor here. Of course, getting wins is all that matters. But I think, like you rightly pointed out, with the divisional rivals coming up, the AFC West is arguably one of the strongest divisions in the whole NFL, let alone just the AFC. So the real test for Denver will be these upcoming games, but they go into that with real momentum. They've got their quarterback firing, understanding with key receivers, as to say, and bear in mind that, of course, they've had Jerry Jeudy on injured reserve now, which is a huge loss. Of the backups are performing, the running game's going well. He's getting protected with his offensive line. The defense was always their strong point, and were just comfortable against the Jaguars, which of course are various interceptions and sacks. So yeah, at the moment, of course, very early days, we must stress that, but it's looking promising for Denver at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So I believe